Welcome back to Unstoppable Mindset. There are people listening to this right now who are not lazy. They are not weak. They are not untalented. They are simply tired. Tired in their mind. Tired in their emotions. Tired from disappointment. Tired from carrying responsibilities nobody sees. And the dangerous thing about tiredness is that it slowly convinces you to stop believing in your own potential. But hear me carefully today. Your destiny does not wait for your feelings to cooperate. One of the greatest discoveries in life is understanding that successful people are not people who always feel energized. They are people who learned how to move, even when energy is low. They discovered the secret of discipline beyond emotion. And that is what separates dreamers from builders. You must understand something about life. Your body gets tired, but vision gives strength. When a person has no purpose, even small tasks become exhausting. But when purpose becomes clear, the human spirit can survive pressure, pain, sacrifice, and delay. That is why two people can work the same number of hours, yet one collapses emotionally, while the other continues moving forward. The difference is not merely physical energy. The difference is meaning. Many people are waiting to feel ready before they act. They say, tomorrow I'll start. When I feel motivated, I'll work harder. When life becomes easier, I'll focus. But if you study greatness, you will discover that achievement was never built on convenience. Greatness is built in moments when the mind says stop, but the purpose says continue. You were not created to be controlled by moods. A plane does not ask the weather for permission to fly. A seed does not ask the soil whether growth will be comfortable. And a person with purpose cannot spend life waiting for perfect emotional conditions. If you only work when you feel strong, your success will always be unstable because feelings change every day. Some mornings you wake up inspired. Other mornings you wake up heavy, frustrated, uncertain, or drained. But purpose must become greater than temporary emotion. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing tiredness means they should quit. No. Sometimes tiredness simply means you are human. Rest if necessary, but never surrender your assignment. There is a difference between rest and distraction. Rest restores power. Distraction steals destiny. Some people say they are tired, but they still spend hours scrolling through negativity, gossip, comparison, and meaningless entertainment. That is not recovery. That is escape. Your spirit cannot become strong while your attention is constantly being consumed by things that produce nothing. You cannot complain about lack of energy while feeding your mind confusion every single day. Protect your mental environment. Your mind is like soil. Whatever you plant repeatedly will grow. If you plant doubt, fear will grow. If you plant excuses, weakness will grow. But if you plant discipline, purpose, faith, and vision, eventually strength will grow even in difficult seasons. You do not need to feel powerful to take action. Sometimes action creates the power. That is the secret many people never learn. Momentum is stronger than emotion. The hardest part of any task is usually the beginning. Your mind exaggerates difficulty before movement starts. You sit there overthinking. You imagine how exhausting the work will be. You convince yourself you cannot handle it. But once you begin, something shifts. Energy starts appearing through movement. The human mind was designed to respond to action. That is why you must train yourself to start small instead of waiting for perfect energy. Write one page. Read one chapter. Make one phone call. Exercise for 10 minutes. Clean one corner of the room. Take one step. Small, consistent movement destroys paralysis. Never underestimate the power of simple obedience to your goals. Success is rarely one giant dramatic action. Most success is invisible consistency repeated daily. The world celebrates the finished product but ignores the private discipline behind it. Nobody sees the nights when you worked while exhausted. Nobody sees the mornings you got up despite disappointment. Nobody sees the internal battles you won silently. But those hidden moments are shaping your future. You are becoming stronger every time you refuse to let fatigue control your destiny. And listen carefully to this. Your body follows your dominant thoughts. If you constantly say, I can't do this, your energy decreases. If you constantly repeat, I'm too tired, your mind accepts weakness as identity. Words are powerful. Your speech programs your mentality. Instead of speaking defeat, begin speaking direction. Say, I may be tired, but I am still moving. Say, I may be under pressure, but I am not finished. Say, I may need rest, but I will not abandon my purpose. The greatest battle in life is not external. It is internal. It is the battle between comfort and calling, between excuses and responsibility, between average living and intentional living. And understand this clearly. Discipline is an act of self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, confidence grows. But every time you constantly delay, procrastinate, and abandon your own commitments, you weaken trust in yourself. Many people do not lack talent, they lack self-agreement. They no longer believe their own words because they have broken too many promises to themselves. Start rebuilding integrity with yourself. If you say you will wake up earlier, do it. If you say you will study, study. If you say you will improve your health, begin. If you say you will build your future, stop waiting for ideal conditions. Your future responds to consistency, not excuses. And there is another truth people avoid. Sometimes you are tired because you are carrying unnecessary weight. Not every burden belongs to you. Some people are emotionally exhausted because they are trying to please everybody. They are carrying guilt, comparison, resentment, fear of judgment, and other people's expectations. No wonder they feel drained. You cannot fulfill your assignment while trying to become acceptable to everyone around you. Learn to protect your peace. Learn to say no. Learn to disconnect from toxic environments. Learn to stop explaining your vision to people committed to misunderstanding you. Not everybody deserves access to your energy. Some individuals only drain your focus, weaken your confidence, and distract your direction. Wisdom is knowing that your energy is valuable. Stop spending it on things that do not contribute to your growth. And let me tell you something powerful. Exhaustion is temporary, but regret can last for years. Many people are suffering today, not because they worked too hard, but because they abandoned dreams they were capable of achieving. Deep inside, they know they settled. They know fear controlled them. They know distraction stole time they can never recover. Do not become a prisoner of postponement. The clock is moving whether you act or not. Your life is moving whether you prepare or not. Your future is approaching whether you discipline yourself or not. The question is not whether time will pass. The question is who you will become while it passes. You must train yourself to operate by vision instead of emotion. Emotion says sleep longer. Vision says build your future. Emotion says quit. Vision says continue. Emotion focuses on discomfort. Vision focuses on destiny. And remember this, consistency creates identity. When you repeatedly act with discipline, eventually discipline stops feeling unnatural. Your habits begin shaping your character. What once required force becomes part of who you are. The key is repetition, not perfection. Repetition. Some people quit because they failed once. No, failure is not your identity. Failure is feedback. Growth requires adjustment. A child learns to walk by falling repeatedly. Imagine if that child decided after the first fall, walking is not for me. Progress requires persistence. Do not allow temporary exhaustion to make permanent decisions. There are moments when your breakthrough is closer than you realize. Many people quit in seasons where they should have continued for just a little longer. The farmer does not dig up seeds every week, asking if growth is happening. He understands that invisible progress is still progress. Your consistency is planting seeds your future will harvest. And one more thing, you cannot pour from an empty spirit forever. Discipline is important, but wisdom is also important. Rest with purpose. Sleep properly. Feed your mind with truth. Take care of your health. Spend time in reflection and prayer. Renewal matters. Burnout is not a badge of honor. But do not confuse renewal with stagnation. Rest should prepare you to continue your mission, not escape from it permanently. There is greatness inside you that comfort will never reveal. Pressure reveals strength. Responsibility reveals maturity. Adversity reveals character. Some of the strongest people in the world became strong because life demanded more from them than they originally believed they could handle. And you are stronger than you think. The fact that you are still here after everything you survived means there is already evidence of resilience inside you. You have endured disappointment, uncertainty, stress, criticism, and setbacks, yet you are still standing. Do not underestimate what that means. Now imagine what happens when you combine that resilience with focused discipline. Imagine what happens when you stop negotiating with excuses. Imagine what happens when you stop waiting for motivation. Imagine what happens when you commit to moving forward even on difficult days. Your life begins to transform, not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Because success is not created in random emotional moments. It is created through daily decisions repeated consistently over time. So when you feel tired tomorrow, remember this message. You do not need perfect feelings to make progress. You do not need endless motivation to stay committed. You do not need ideal conditions to start building your future. You simply need the decision to continue. And sometimes the most powerful thing a human being can say is, I will keep going. Purpose gives human beings a kind of strength that cannot be explained by physical energy alone. There are people who sleep for 8 hours and still feel tired every morning. And there are others carrying enormous responsibilities who continue moving forward with determination. The difference is often not the body. The difference is purpose. When a person has discovered a meaningful reason to live, work, build, and grow, they develop an inner drive that pushes them beyond temporary emotions. Most people think energy comes only from rest, food, or motivation. While those things matter, there is another source of energy many people ignore. Vision creates energy. Direction creates energy. Knowing why you must continue creates energy. When your life lacks purpose, even simple tasks begin to feel heavy. You wake up without excitement. You delay important responsibilities. You constantly search for motivation because your spirit has no clear assignment to pursue. This is why so many talented people remain stuck. Talent without purpose becomes wasted potential. Intelligence without purpose becomes distraction. Ability without purpose becomes inconsistency. A person may have gifts, opportunities, and resources, but without a clear reason for living, they lose momentum quickly whenever challenges appear. Purpose changes how you see difficulty. When you know why something matters, sacrifice becomes easier to endure. A mother wakes up exhausted in the middle of the night to care for her child because love gives her strength. A student studies late despite pressure because the vision of a better future pushes them forward. A builder works patiently for years because they can already see the dream in their mind before it exists physically. Purpose gives meaning to struggle. Without purpose, pain feels pointless. But with purpose, pain becomes part of growth. You stop seeing challenges as punishment and begin seeing them as preparation. You understand that every difficult season is developing patience, character, wisdom, and resilience for the future you are trying to build. Many people are emotionally drained because they are living without direction. They spend years reacting to life instead of intentionally building it. They wake up and simply repeat routines without asking themselves important questions. Why am I here? What kind of person am I becoming? What impact do I want my life to have? What assignment has been placed inside me? A person who does not know their purpose will eventually become distracted by everything. They will chase temporary pleasure, comparison, approval, and comfort because they have no larger vision guiding their decisions. And the dangerous thing about living without purpose is that it slowly destroys your discipline. If there is no meaningful reason to continue, the mind will always choose comfort over growth. Purpose creates focus. When you know where you are going, you stop wasting energy on things that do not matter. You become more intentional with your time, your relationships, your habits, and your attention. You realize that every day of your life is an investment into the person you are becoming. Instead of drifting through life emotionally, you begin living with clarity. One of the greatest secrets to productivity is understanding that feelings are unreliable. Some mornings you feel inspired. Other mornings you feel discouraged. If your actions depend entirely on emotions, your progress will always be unstable. But purpose allows you to move beyond emotional inconsistency. Purpose reminds you that your responsibilities still matter even on difficult days. There will be moments when your body feels tired, your mind feels heavy, and your emotions feel weak. In those moments, purpose becomes your anchor. Purpose whispers, keep going. Purpose reminds you of the future you are building. Purpose reminds you that your current struggle is not the end of your story. The most successful people in life are rarely the people with the easiest circumstances. Often, they are people who developed a deep commitment to something greater than comfort. They learned that meaningful achievement requires persistence. They stopped waiting for perfect emotional conditions before taking action. And understand this clearly, purpose is not only about career or money. Purpose is about contribution. It is about becoming the best version of yourself and using your life meaningfully. Some people become exhausted because they are chasing goals that do not truly matter to them. They are pursuing approval instead of purpose. They are trying to impress people instead of fulfilling their assignment. Real fulfillment comes when your daily actions connect to something meaningful inside your spirit. That is why you must guard your vision carefully. The world is full of distractions designed to steal your focus. Endless comparison, negativity, fear, and entertainment can slowly disconnect you from your purpose. If you are not intentional, you will spend your energy building someone else's dream while neglecting your own potential. Take time to reconnect with your vision. Remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself what kind of future you want to create. Remind yourself who depends on your growth, your leadership, your example, and your courage. Sometimes all a tired mind needs is a renewed connection to purpose. And remember this, purpose does not eliminate tiredness, but it gives tiredness meaning. You may still feel pressure. You may still experience exhaustion. You may still have moments of frustration. But purpose gives you the strength to continue moving despite those feelings. A person with purpose understands that temporary discomfort is often the price of long-term growth. They understand that success is not built only in moments of excitement. Success is also built in quiet moments of consistency when nobody is watching. When purpose becomes stronger than your feelings, your life begins to change. You stop living emotionally and start living intentionally. You stop waiting for motivation and start acting with commitment. You stop allowing temporary moods to control permanent decisions. And that is one of the greatest secrets to getting things done even when you are tired. Discipline is one of the most powerful forces a human being can develop, yet it is also one of the rarest. Most people live according to emotion. If they feel motivated, they work hard. If they feel inspired, they stay focused. If they feel energetic, they take action. But the moment discomfort appears, their consistency disappears. This is why so many dreams remain unfinished. Emotion is unstable. It changes daily, sometimes hourly. Discipline, however, creates stability in a world filled with emotional inconsistency. The truth is, successful people are not successful because they always feel ready. They are successful because they learned how to act regardless of how they feel. They trained themselves to move forward even when motivation was absent. That is the difference between interest and commitment. When you are only interested in success, you work when conditions are convenient. But when you are committed, you continue even when conditions become difficult. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline is punishment. They think it means living without joy or freedom. But real discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect. It is the ability to control your actions instead of allowing temporary emotions to control your future. Every day, your mind gives you two choices, comfort or growth. Comfort tells you to delay, relax, quit, and avoid pressure. Growth tells you to continue, improve, learn, and remain focused. The problem is that comfort feels good immediately, while growth often feels uncomfortable at first. That is why discipline is necessary. Discipline allows you to choose what is right instead of what is easy. The dangerous thing about emotions is that they often lie. There will be mornings when your feelings tell you to stay in bed, but your future needs you to get up. There will be moments when your emotions tell you to quit, but your breakthrough may be one step away. There will be seasons when you feel discouraged, uncertain, or mentally exhausted, yet those are often the moments where character is being developed the most. A person without discipline becomes a prisoner of mood. Their productivity depends entirely on emotional conditions. One day they are excited and ambitious, and the next day they abandon everything because they no longer feel motivated. This cycle destroys progress. Greatness cannot be built on inconsistency. Discipline creates momentum. It teaches your mind that action is not optional. The moment you stop negotiating with excuses, your life begins to change. Instead of asking yourself whether you feel like working, you simply begin. Instead of overthinking every task, you focus on execution. Instead of waiting for motivation, you create routines that keep you moving forward, regardless of emotion. This is where true personal power begins. Your future is not shaped by occasional bursts of motivation. It is shaped by repeated daily actions. Small decisions made consistently over time create massive results. One disciplined hour every day can eventually change your entire life. But most people underestimate the power of consistency because they are addicted to immediate results. Discipline understands something emotions do not. Progress takes time. The farmer does not plant seeds and expect a harvest the next morning. The athlete does not train once and expect mastery. The builder does not lay one brick and expect a completed house. Everything meaningful requires patience, repetition, and commitment. And here is something important to understand. Discipline becomes easier when you stop making everything emotional. Some people create mental battles over simple responsibilities. They spend more energy thinking about the task than actually doing it. They sit there waiting to feel ready, not realizing that readiness often appears after action begins. Action creates momentum. Once you start moving, energy often follows. The hardest part of many tasks is simply beginning. That is why disciplined people train themselves to start immediately instead of endlessly negotiating with procrastination. They understand that hesitation creates weakness while action builds confidence. You must also learn to separate tiredness from laziness. There are moments when genuine rest is necessary and wisdom is knowing when to recover. But many people are not truly exhausted, they are simply undisciplined. They have trained themselves to obey every distraction, every craving, and every emotional impulse. As a result, they struggle to stay focused on anything meaningful. Discipline requires sacrifice. You cannot build a powerful future while constantly choosing temporary comfort. Sometimes discipline means waking up earlier. Sometimes it means saying no to distractions. Sometimes it means continuing your work while others are wasting time. The price may feel uncomfortable now, but the reward is transformation. One of the greatest benefits of discipline is self-confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen trust within your own mind. When you say you will complete something and you follow through, you begin seeing yourself as dependable and capable. But every time you constantly quit, delay, or make excuses, you weaken your self-belief. Confidence is not built merely through positive thinking. It is built through consistent action. A disciplined life also protects you from regret. Many people spend years wishing they had been more focused, more consistent, more courageous. They look back realizing they wasted valuable time waiting for perfect conditions that never arrived. Discipline prevents that pain because it teaches you to take responsibility now instead of postponing your potential. And understand this clearly, discipline is not something people are born with naturally. It is developed through repetition. Every day you practice self-control, you strengthen it. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses, you become mentally stronger. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. There will always be days when you feel tired. There will always be moments when your emotions try to convince you to stop. But disciplined people understand that feelings are temporary while purpose is permanent. They know that the life they desire will not be built by occasional motivation, but by consistent commitment. When discipline becomes stronger than emotion, you stop being controlled by your moods. You become intentional, focused, reliable, productive. You stop waiting for inspiration and start creating results through action. And that is one of the greatest secrets to getting things done even when you are tired. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they need massive energy, perfect timing, or extraordinary motivation to change their lives. Because of this mindset, many people never begin. They look at their goals and immediately feel overwhelmed. The dream seems too big, the process seems too long, and the effort seems too exhausting. So instead of taking action, they delay. They wait for a future version of themselves to suddenly become more disciplined, more focused, and more motivated. But real transformation rarely begins with giant steps. It begins with small, consistent actions repeated daily. Success is not usually created in dramatic moments. It is created quietly through habits that seem insignificant at first. A single workout may not transform your body overnight, but repeated consistently, it changes your health. Reading a few pages daily may not seem powerful in one moment, but over time, it expands your knowledge and thinking. Saving small amounts of money consistently may appear slow, but eventually it creates financial stability. The secret is not intensity alone. The secret is consistency. Many people fail because they try to change everything at once. They become emotionally excited, create unrealistic plans, and attempt massive changes overnight. For a few days, they feel unstoppable. Then exhaustion appears. Pressure increases. Motivation fades. And because their strategy depended only on emotional excitement, they quit. Small actions solve this problem because they reduce mental resistance. When a task feels too big, the brain naturally avoids it. But when the task becomes small and manageable, starting becomes easier. Instead of saying, I need to completely change my life today, disciplined people focus on one step at a time. One page written, one chapter studied, one healthy meal, one phone call, 1 hour of focused work. Small progress may not feel dramatic, but it builds momentum. Momentum is powerful because movement creates energy. A person sitting still often feels more tired mentally than a person already in motion. Overthinking drains energy. Procrastination drains confidence. Fear grows larger when action is delayed. But once you begin, something shifts inside you. The task that looked impossible starts feeling manageable. Your mind stops fighting itself and begins adapting to movement. This is why starting matters more than perfection. Too many people waste years trying to prepare for a perfect beginning. They want the perfect plan, the perfect mood, the perfect opportunity, and the perfect confidence before they take action. But perfection is often the enemy of progress. Life rewards movement, not endless hesitation. You must train yourself to respect small victories. Every positive action matters. Every disciplined decision matters. Every moment you choose growth over excuses matters. These small actions may appear invisible today, but over time they shape your identity. And identity is important because repeated actions eventually become habits. At first, discipline feels difficult because your old habits resist change. Your mind is used to comfort, distraction, and delay. But the more consistently you repeat positive actions, the more natural they become. What once required force eventually becomes routine. This is how powerful lives are built, not through occasional motivation, but through daily systems and habits. Think about a river. A river does not cut through rock because of one moment of power. It cuts through rock because of consistent movement over time. In the same way, your small daily actions slowly shape your future. You may not see immediate results, but change is happening beneath the surface. This is where many people become discouraged. They expect immediate visible progress. When results take longer than expected, they assume their efforts are useless. But growth often happens invisibly before it becomes visible. The seed underground teaches this lesson perfectly. For a long time, nothing appears above the surface. Yet underneath, roots are forming quietly. Preparation is happening invisibly. Then eventually, growth becomes visible to everyone. Your life works the same way. The work you do consistently today is preparing results you may not see immediately. Never underestimate invisible progress. A person who improves by 1% every day eventually becomes completely transformed. Small actions may look weak individually, but together they create powerful momentum. One disciplined decision leads to another. One productive day creates confidence for the next day. Momentum begins building, and suddenly the person who once struggled to begin becomes someone who naturally takes action. This is why consistency matters more than occasional intensity. Some people work extremely hard one day and then disappear for the next 2 weeks. Others move slowly but consistently every single day. Over time, the consistent person almost always wins. Why? Because consistency compounds. Repeated effort creates mastery, strength, confidence, and results. And understand this clearly, motivation is unreliable, but systems are dependable. If you rely only on feelings, your productivity will constantly rise and fall. But when you create routines and systems, action becomes automatic. You no longer waste energy debating whether you should work. Your habits guide your behavior. This is why successful people value routines. They understand that discipline removes unnecessary decision-making. Small actions also protect you from burnout. When people constantly force themselves into extreme effort without balance, exhaustion eventually overwhelms them. But sustainable growth comes through manageable consistency. It is better to move steadily for years than to burn intensely for a few weeks and quit completely. You do not need to conquer your entire future today. You simply need to take the next step faithfully. Sometimes the reason people stay stuck is because they focus too much on the entire mountain instead of the next step in front of them. Great achievements are built piece by piece. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful person once struggled with inconsistency. Every strong mindset was developed gradually through repetition. And remember this, small actions are proof that you still believe in your future. Every time you continue despite tiredness, you strengthen your character. Every time you take one more step despite low energy, you prove to yourself that excuses no longer control your life. Progress may feel slow at times, but slow progress is still progress. One step daily can eventually carry you farther than bursts of motivation followed by long periods of quitting. That is the power of small, consistent actions. They build momentum, transform habits, strengthen confidence, and slowly shape the future you once thought was impossible. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you possess, yet many people waste it carelessly every single day. They protect their money, protect their possessions, and protect their reputation, but they do not protect their mind. They allow negativity, distractions, toxic environments, and endless noise to drain their mental strength. Then they wonder why they constantly feel exhausted, unfocused, and unmotivated. The truth is, many people are not tired because they are working too hard. They are tired because their mind is carrying too much unnecessary weight. Mental exhaustion is real. A distracted mind becomes a weak mind. A mind filled with fear, comparison, stress, gossip, confusion, and negativity will eventually lose clarity and focus. You cannot feed your spirit poison daily and expect to feel powerful. Your inner environment shapes your outer performance. This is why protecting your energy is not selfish. It is necessary. Every day your attention is under attack. Social media, negativity, bad news, unnecessary arguments, toxic relationships, and constant comparison are competing for your focus. If you are not intentional, these things slowly consume your emotional strength. You may not notice it immediately, but over time they create frustration, anxiety, overthinking, and mental fatigue. Many people wake up already overwhelmed because their mind never truly rests. Even when their body is sitting still, their thoughts are racing endlessly. They replay failures, fear the future, compare themselves to others, and carry emotional burdens they were never meant to carry. The body eventually follows the condition of the mind. A peaceful mind creates strength. A chaotic mind creates exhaustion. This is why successful people learn to guard what enters their spirit. They understand that not every conversation deserves their attention. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every environment deserves their presence. Wisdom is knowing what to ignore. Some people lose more energy fighting unnecessary battles than building their future. You must learn the power of selective focus. Your life moves in the direction of your strongest attention. If your attention constantly feeds on negativity, your mindset weakens. But if your attention feeds on growth, purpose, wisdom, and discipline, your mentality becomes stronger. Protecting your energy also means protecting your relationships. Some individuals inspire you to grow, while others drain your confidence every time they speak. Some people constantly complain, criticize, gossip, and spread discouragement. If you spend enough time around negative thinking, eventually it affects your own perspective. Energy is contagious. That is why you must be careful about the voices you allow into your life. You cannot constantly surround yourself with people who doubt everything and still expect to remain mentally strong. Your environment influences your thinking more than you realize. This does not mean you hate people or think you are better than others. It simply means you recognize that your mind requires protection. Just as unhealthy food weakens the body, unhealthy environments weaken the spirit. And let us talk about overthinking, because it is one of the greatest destroyers of mental energy. Many people are physically inactive, yet mentally exhausted, because they spend all day fighting battles inside their own thoughts. They analyze every possibility, fear every mistake, and imagine negative outcomes before anything even happens. Overthinking creates emotional paralysis. Instead of taking action, they remain trapped inside endless mental noise. You must train your mind to focus on solutions instead of fear. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Some thoughts must be rejected immediately. Thoughts of defeat, hopelessness, insecurity, and failure will weaken your confidence if you constantly entertain them. This is why your inner conversation matters. The words you repeatedly speak to yourself become mental programming. If you constantly say, "I'm always tired," your mind accepts weakness as identity. If you constantly say, "I can't handle this," your confidence decreases. But when you intentionally speak strength, discipline, and possibility, your mentality begins to shift. Your mind listens to your dominant language. Speak life over yourself. Speak direction over yourself. Speak vision over yourself. Say, "I am growing." Say, "I will continue." Say, "This season will not break me." Say, "I may feel tired, but I still have purpose." Words are powerful because they influence belief, and belief influences behavior. Protecting your energy also requires wise rest. Many people confuse rest with distraction. True rest restores the mind and body. Distraction simply numbs responsibility temporarily. Hours of meaningless scrolling, negativity, or entertainment may distract you, but they often leave you mentally emptier afterward. Real renewal comes from intentional recovery. Sleep properly. Take care of your health. Spend quiet time thinking clearly. Pray. Reflect. Read things that strengthen your mind. Spend time around people who inspire growth. Learn to disconnect from constant noise so your mind can recover. Silence is powerful because clarity grows in quiet places. Some people are constantly surrounded by noise, yet they never truly listen to themselves. They never slow down enough to think deeply about their direction, habits, or purpose. A distracted life creates a confused mind. But moments of stillness allow wisdom to grow. And remember this, protecting your energy is not about avoiding all difficulty. Challenges are part of growth. Responsibility is necessary. Hard work matters. But there is a difference between productive pressure and unnecessary emotional burden. Do not waste your strength trying to please everyone. Do not waste your focus comparing your journey to others. Do not waste your peace arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. Save your energy for your assignment. The future you desire requires mental strength. You cannot build a meaningful life with a constantly distracted mind. Focus is power. Discipline is power. Inner peace is power. The strongest people are not always the loudest people. Often they are individuals who learned how to control their mind despite chaos around them. They learned how to remain focused despite distractions. They learned how to protect their peace while still pursuing their purpose. And that is one of the greatest secrets to getting things done even when you are tired. When you protect your energy and train your mind, you stop allowing negativity, distractions, and emotional chaos to control your productivity. Instead of living reactively, you begin living intentionally. A protected mind becomes a powerful mind, and a powerful mind creates a powerful life.